From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Happy Wednesday morning to you. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger. Manton Apple Festival, it is this Saturday, and if you're concerned about rain, don't be concerned. It's been wet this week, right? And we certainly have seen some unexpected heavier rainfall even yesterday afternoon, but that's all going to be kind of quieting down later this weekend. But before we get into all of that, again, the Manton Apple Festival this Saturday between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. They got all kinds of great things. This is a festival that's been going on for a long time, my friends. And on top of that, an apple pie baking contest. Apple pie baking contest. And I have been one of the judges for many, many years alongside with Mike Quinn. My wife is going to be one of the guest judges this year as well. We're very excited about that. They've got all kinds of crafts and food vendors and apple products and pies. They're going to have an old-time press where you can get some apple juice. It's going to be so much fun. So be sure to head on out there and we will see you. Be sure to stop by and say hello out at the judges table, or if I'm just out and about walking around with my family. All right, let's talk about that rain, because yeah, last night, look at this. A nice little band that pushed through, kept things fairly steady in those light showers we did see overnight and early this morning. You can see it's beginning to taper off a little bit here, but still some scattered showers throughout the morning hours. Rainfall totals, just a kind of general idea of what we've seen out there. Some areas much more than others. You can see these little spots even in the valley with those darker shades of green indicating some of that heavier rainfall, those downpours we saw, those unexpected, quite honestly, downpours that we did see yesterday afternoon, especially into Tehama County, and it did make its way into Shasta County and even some of the higher elevations and foothills. All right, so here's your headlines as we kind of talk about what we expect to talk about in our deeper dive forecast. Number one, cool and unsettled through Thursday. I do expect warmer and drier conditions, though, for the end of the week. A pleasant weekend in store for us with dry and mild conditions mostly for next week. And we're going to talk about Monday and Tuesday, how things could get a little bit interesting there. But more on that in your deeper dive. First, it's Wednesday, October 1st. Let's get into your Krueger's quickcast for a quick look at your forecast here for today. All right, so out the door this morning, straight showers. I think everyone, for the most part, is going to see a chance for some scattered showers. If anyone's going to be dry, it may most likely be Modoc County and, say, the eastern mountains. So there's actually another cold front that's pushing through, but the main area of low pressure itself over the Gulf of Alaska is pushing to the east. This is helping to create some of the cool and unsettled air that we have out there. So let's take you through the morning hours. Now, this is looking at the HRRR forecast model, and I think it's actually doing a pretty good job. You can see the scattered showers out there. I do think there could be some brief periods of moderate to heavy rainfall, and this could include parts of the valley. Off chance for a stray thunderstorm as well. Maybe even some small hail. That'll continue going into the evening hours, and that starts to kind of push up to the north. So some of that heavier rainfall by about 9, 10 o'clock tonight. And then it starts to taper off to just some scattered showers here and there. So for your Wednesday, we've got mostly cloudy skies, chance for showers for everyone, including the valley, maybe even a brief period of some heavier rainfall. We take a look at our 7-day outlook. We're finally drying things out. Now, there still may be a lingering shower here and there, especially in the mountains for Thursday, but you'll notice it's just getting warmer and drier going into the weekend. Again, there's that chance, especially for the coast and the mountains on Thursday, but Thursday is what I'm going to call the transition day between the cool and wet weather pattern we're under now to the drier and warmer conditions we are going to see as we get to the end of the weekend this weekend. And notice Alturas and Susanville on Monday, Tuesday of next week. What? I thought we were going to be dry next week. I do think we will be. However, the American forecast model is holding on tight to the potential for showers on Monday, Tuesday, especially in the Southern Cascades and Northern Sierra. But the European forecast model hasn't been showing this at all. So it just depends on which model you look at. So I'm putting that chance in there just because of that persistence from the American forecast model. Let's take a look at the latest on the fires. This is good news from the Dillon fire, up to 95% contained there as of yesterday afternoon. We take a look at the Blue fire as of yesterday morning, still at about 83% containment. Haven't seen any new developments here on the log fire either, but this is the latest report as of yesterday morning at 97% contained. Now, I'm not concerned about the winds giving us high fire danger, but notice Siskiyou County, central Siskiyou County, gusty winds, a little breezy, a little gusty even for the valley this afternoon. And then going into Thursday morning, those winds died down. But then I do expect even calm winds for Thursday afternoon. And then Friday, look at this. Friday around midday, a bit of a north wind kicking in for parts of the valley. So again, not terribly concerned about fire weather risk as we're mainly in the low category for today, tomorrow. On Friday, you'll notice we start to get a little bit of that yellow in the valley. Why? Well, humidity is dropping a little bit, but still not that bad. We're close to 30% on Friday, but those north winds may start to dry things out. But again, not concerned about that fire weather risk. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our deeper dive forecast. But before we get to that, I want to remind you that there is a free Weather NorCal app that you can share your photos from. And if you get a great shot of some rain or rainbow, any weather type related photo, be sure to share it through the free Weather NorCal app. And you know, we have fun too. We got fall foliage heading our way. The leaves are starting to change colors. If you start seeing some beautiful trees and colors, send them through the free Weather NorCal app. You got a great pet photo? Check that out as well. We'll be sharing those here through the morning hours and even into on social media as well. Hey, by the way, now that we can confidently say that the triple digits are pretty much out of the story here for the rest of the year, how did it look this year? Well, so far this year, Redding Airport has seen 47 days of 100 plus degree days. Now, when you compare that to last year, significantly lower. And last year was not far from the all-time record of 72 days in 2017 of 100 degree plus temperatures. Kind of interesting, right? We take a look at the number of 110 plus degree days. None at the Redding Airport. Now, I do know that there were a couple of spots in the valley that did see 110 degrees for a day or two, but Redding Airport didn't. Last year, 13 days. The record was in 1988 of 15 days. So I think we can all agree that, yes, it was hot at times this summer, but certainly a mild summer in comparison. Hey, how about the rain season as well? We officially empty out the rain gauges for the season in California this morning. And so how did we do since October 1st of last year to yesterday? Well, look at Redding at the airport, 100%, 110% of average. Right around or just below 100% in Red Bluff. You can see mostly above 100% in most of Northern California, with the exception of Red Bluff, Mount Shasta, and look at South Lake Tahoe, didn't do that well either. But for the most part, I mean, look at El Turris, 128% of average. We did see 123% of average out in Eureka. So very good when we look at the overall amount of rainfall that we've seen here for the California rain season. Speaking of rain, yes, we did see some last night. Your ears weren't deceiving you last night when you heard a little bit of that pitter-patter on the roof, especially the valley, but even some of the higher elevations seeing some of those showers and even along the coast. This is a trend that will continue through the rest of the day today, often on showers with brief periods of heavy rainfall for some of us. Here's the bigger picture. Area of low pressure spinning. Nice little band of moisture right here. This is all pushing eastward, and that's what's going to bring us more clouds, cool weather, and off and on showers. Now, let's take a look at futurecast. This is a little less aggressive than what we were looking at with the HRRR during our Krueger's quickcast. So I want to show you, and we'll talk about this. All right, let's take it about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. All right. Futurecast is picking up on the potential for a brief period of some moderate to heavy rainfall. So I'd say that parts of the valley and even, especially in Trinity County, even in some of the higher elevations, could see the scattered showers and a brief period of some moderate to heavy rainfall for some of you, maybe even some small hail. Even going into this evening, you can see we're still seeing that potential, especially north of the valley. Now look at tomorrow. Tomorrow, Futurecast is basically showing us mostly cloudy skies, but not much in the way of rain. With that being said, the air is still fairly saturated. We could see some stray sprinkles and some light showers really across the board. as we take you through the day on Thursday. But Thursday, as I mentioned, is that transition day from the cool and wet weather pattern we're under now to Friday. Look at Friday. It is going to be clearing out, more sunshine and dry conditions across the board on Friday. Rainfall estimates through Wednesday, of course today and going into tomorrow. All right, you see a nice little area right here. That's where you saw in futurecast some of those heavier showers producing later this evening. But you can see, I mean, not terribly impressive when we're talking rainfall amounts, but certainly some welcome rainfall nonetheless. All right, so there you can see this is pushing to the east. That means drier and warmer weather for us as we go into the weekend. Manton Apple Festival, going to be gorgeous, no excuses. It's going to be cool, it's going to be wet. No, it's going to be gorgeous. Temperatures in the low 80s for those daytime highs. Now by Sunday, this particular forecast model, which is the American forecast model, is taking an area of low pressure. And you see what's happening? Look at that. It's picking up on maybe some shower activity Monday and possibly even Tuesday for Modoc County, Lassen, and Plumas counties. And maybe even the mountains of eastern Shasta and Tehama County as well for next Tuesday. But then it looks like that moves on out and we dry things out again. Now, again, if we were looking at the European forecast model, this wouldn't be here. It'd be up to our north and east. So it depends on which model you look at, but I am at least putting that chance in there for the eastern mountains and Modoc County as we take you into Monday, Tuesday of next week. But bottom line, Climate Prediction Center is putting us in the drier than normal conditions here. Temperature-wise, look at this. We're going to be ticking back upward after today. But the normal high is in the mid to upper 80s in the valley. We're going to be below that. We're going to keep it generally in the low 80s through next week and most likely even into that next weekend. Beautiful fall weather. This is the weather I think many of you have been waiting for, and it has arrived. You're welcome. No, it's not. I don't take credit for it. Mother Nature can. All right, look at the lake levels. You know, we're still looking pretty good. That historical average still over 100%. Hey, by the way, beach hazard statement, sneaker waves, you hear about that, right? That is a potential here throughout the day today until 5 p.m. So, not a good idea to turn your back on the ocean. If you're going to be out on the beach, not a good idea to bring the kiddos. It's just not safe. Bottom line. So, if you don't have to be out on the beach and you're thinking, oh, beach day, not necessarily. It's going to be cloudy and cool. Who wants to be out there anyways, right? But it's still going to be unsafe any way you look at it. Look at the wave heights. This is one of the reasons why. We've got some pretty strong wave heights, high waves. But they should start to back off as we go into your Thursday. So as a result, looking at your marine forecast, small craft advisory for today, but those winds from the south at about 5 to 10 knots. And your waves out of the south at 4 feet at 5 seconds and from the west at 9 feet at about 13 seconds. Here's your neighborhood forecast, sponsored in part by Dignity Health. We do have those temperatures in the mid to upper 60s in Trinity County. Now, again, today is a day, scattered showers, maybe a brief period of heavy rainfall for pretty much everyone, especially Trinity County and parts of the valley. And on Thursday, I put the chance in there for some of us. Bottom line, it's going to be a fairly dry day on Thursday, but if you see a stray sprinkle or light shower Thursday anywhere, don't be surprised. It's Friday that we start to dry things out and warm up. Taking a look up to the north here, your Dignity Health North Coast neighborhood forecast. Yeah, I mean, we take out your Dignity Health Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. Showers, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm. Slight chance lingering on Thursday, drying out and warming up as we go into early next week. Now, Modoc County, take a look at this. There's that chance again on Thursday. And I've just put the word chance in there. You notice no rain coming from those clouds because I'm not 100% committing to that. Again, it just depends on which forecast model you look at, but something worth watching, especially if you do have outdoor plans early next week. You'll want to keep a close eye on the forecast. But otherwise, the weekend looking gorgeous, right? I mean, look at this. This is the weekend that you get out and just enjoy these cooler temperatures that we're experiencing here in fall. It's fall. This is what we typically see this time of the year, these cooler temperatures. Take a look at your Dignity Health Valley neighborhood forecast to the south. Temperatures upper 60s, maybe even around 70 for some of us. And then we are going to be looking at drier and warmer conditions over the weekend. Your 7-day forecast for Chico. There it is. Temperatures close to 80 over the weekend, but not bad. Upper 70s to low 80s for the weekend going into early next week. Overnight lows in the mid 50s. All right, let's take a look at your neighborhood forecast to the north for the valley. Temperatures in the mid 60s there. 67 degrees for Red Bluff, 66 degrees in Palo Cedro. And taking a look at your 7-day forecast for Redding. Well, there it is. Temperatures around the upper 70s to low 80s over the weekend. Low 80s for Monday and Tuesday. That is your morning update. I'll be back again to check in with your latest forecast at noon. Have a great rest of your morning.